This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Trade.
G'day punters. Well, I'm going to assume that you've heard of Bet with Mates by now. Betting together has never been so easy than it is within the Sportsbet app with the new Bet with Mates. But there's even more features coming now. You can start rating your mates' bets with emojis. No guessing what some of my bets would be rated with. I'm not going to go into detail on what that emoji is, but you can probably imagine. But my favourite feature that's just recently come out is the late join. Plenty of my mates have Bet with Mates groups that are absolutely rolling, and I haven't been able to win a part of them. But now I can with the late join feature. I can jump right in there and also set a max stake. Enjoy the app and, most importantly, gamble responsibly.
The door is ajar for the Hawks. They win this one. They go 2 games clear, have a bit of a cushion. No Brian Gorgon on the sideline tonight.
Reek, nice footwork.
Out away, down low, and puts a lid on 2.
Reek once more, this time electing to fire the 3 ball.
Man.
He has got it all.
Man.
Dellavedova being patient and being selective, and he puts Melbourne back on top. They scored the last 9. So the Illawarra Hawks with a 12-0 run to close out the first half.
But when he gets going,
He's going.
He's going.
That's what he does.
Melbourne average 89 points a game, and they've got in the 50s here. It's the last play of the third quarter. The Hawks on top by 14. Can Melbourne just generate a little momentum here? Illy, the JLA and the flush. It's Harvey, 5 on the shot clock. Puts a foot on the accelerator. Couldn't finish. Oh, Cleveland will.
You see that look in his eye? You see that look in Cleveland's eye?
He's been the one that's changed their season. Make no mistake.
The magnitude of this game for Illawarra, without Gorgon,
Exceptional.
exceptional.
A lot to look forward to in the Hungry Jack's NBL. Right now, they are putting on a show as Cleveland goes it down.
This man is flat out disgusting. Well, dominant is an understatement. From the jump as well. Their energy.
They came in here
Execution.
and destroyed Melbourne United.
Did they what?
Destroyed them.
Well, last Sunday was a statement win by Illawarra, claiming all 4 quarters as they upset Melbourne and loosened United's grip on top spot in the process. But the reigning champs have enjoyed the last 8 weeks at the top of the ladder, and with the playoffs fast approaching, it's a position they are looking to keep. It's one of the biggest games of the Hungry Jacks NBL season so far, and we are here for it as we welcome you to John Cain Arena for the continuation of round 18 of the Hungry Jacks NBL. Hi everyone, I'm John Casey. 2 legends of the game alongside me, and Shane the Hammer Hill and Andrew Gase. This has got good game written all over it.
It certainly does, and these 2 teams have already met twice this season, but the big one was last week, and the way in which the Illawarra Hawks backs against the wall type win, and they came through and it was their defence. We all know Brian Gorge's renowned for his defence. The last couple of games, in fact, probably the last month, they've played that you could see their trajectory on the defensive end going the way that they needed it to go, and then they've been putting points on the board. So it's a good combination. Second hottest team in the competition, Hammer, behind the Sydney Kings. They've won 9 out of the last 11, and look at them sitting reasonably comfortably at 3rd place.
Well, you put some importance on this game. Don't worry about that. Melbourne United need to be able to bounce back. Illawarra in fine form. This game's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, the Amy ladder taking shape, the playoffs fast approaching. Of course, the Hawks will have to do it tonight without Tyler Harvey. We'll get to him in just a moment because Melbourne are going to unveil Uday Baba, who's back in the lineup, will come off the bench as we take a look at the DoorDash starting 5 for Melbourne United.
It is, and Agata against the Illawarra Hawks has been a rebounding fool. He's had 15 and 13 in their 2 games as a guard. That's valuable, but that's pretty much been their starting lineup for a big chunk of the season. Chris Golding, Matthew Dellavedova, and of course Jack White. He's great at both ends of the floor. Joe Luala-Chul just tapered. He was an MVP candidate for much of the season and just tapered the last few games, but it's the man who's not on the starting lineup, Uday Baba, part of their championship winning team, averaged 7 and a bit points last season, and elite defender, so he can get it done.
Delhi's had his best game against Illawarra and perhaps his worst game last Sunday against the Hawks as well. And a short time ago, he caught up with the 4th member of our commentary team, Pete Hawley.
Well, Melbourne United will be looking to get revenge against the Illawarra Hawks after a tough outing just 6 days ago. And with me now is Matthew Dellavedova. Delly, what was the takeaway after that match last weekend?
I think we need to do a better job of taking care of the ball and then getting back in transition defense. They're explosive when they can get out in transition, getting on the rim and getting those open threes.
Well, they're playing really well, had a big win the other night. How do you make sure you get this win tonight?
Yeah, I think it starts with, offensively taking care of the ball, defensively getting back, trying to set out defense, and then following the scout report. We know what they like to do, what they like to run, but it's just a matter of trying to stop it.
Familiar face for Melbourne United fans. What's your first impressions of playing and training alongside Udo Bubba?
Really good defensively, quick, can get to the rim, and just the way the boys have welcomed him back into the group. Obviously a great guy, great team member.
Thanks, mate. Good luck tonight.
Appreciate it.
Matthew Dellavedova there with Pete Hawley, and Antonius Cleveland will carry a load tonight. Tyler Harvey had 19 when these teams played last week. He's not there with that back injury, but the starting lineup for DoorDash, well, it's impressive.
Well, Cleveland's been exceptional. He'll have to be tonight as well. He's a great athlete, can really defend, putting points on the board as well. As you spoke about, Harvey's the big out. Brian Goorjian's the big in. He wasn't here last week. He was in the COVID protocols. So Goorjian's back. The pressure is on because his assistant coach got it done while he was away. But Jessup, he's the X factor. 29 points. He needs to stand up again.
Set to go. First versus third on the ladder. Luala Chul and Duobruk, two of the marquee big men in the competition to get us underway. And the ball's going to squid out of court. And we'll try our luck once more. Gorge has lost his last 4 games against Melbourne. Didn't think to maybe just leave Jacob Jackamas in charge and sit this one out?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Gorge be
very excited for this one.
He's lost his last 4, though, Brian Goorjian, against Melbourne United. So it keen to reverse that trend.
United have won 11 of their past 12 games here. Udo Bubba has played, so Luala Chul just a little casual with the ball there and almost relieved of it by Jessup. There's 29 points against Brisbane on Thursday. It's his season high. You know he can hit the 3 ball. He hit 5 of those, but he was 6 of 7 inside the line, which is an extra wrinkle he added.
Well, I think the thing for him, when you are a great 3-point shooter, they have to close you out hard. And as we see, Matthew Dellavedova, he likes playing against the Illawarra Hawks.
Great start for Delhi. Remembering that he hit 7 threes against the Hawks when they met in Illawarra back in round 7.
Had 8 assists in that game as well, Case.
And 33 points. So here's the Hawks looking to open their account through Reith, who from close range gets it done.
That is a tough shot against a very good defender as well.
So both teams getting the start they were after. White just worried out of the points there. Good job by Sam Froling. A chance for Ratam Mays to bring the Hawks forward. Froling, good position there against White. It was just a little slow to react, and the Hawks score 4 in a row to take the lead.
Well, tough start from White. He got scored on in the block, then he helped off too much. As we see Chris Golding. Wow, corner pocket 3. How do you get lost in transition and leave one of the best 3-point shooters alone?
Well, both teams. The time before, Froling just walks into a casual layup. Poor defensive trans D by Melbourne United, and then Illawarra returned the favour. And so, you're right, how do you leave a guy that wide open? Surely he would have been first on your scout report about what you're going to do.
Shot clock in the background, but Cleveland gets it done as he opens his scoring account. High quality start to the game. Hawks 3 of 3 from the field. Melbourne 2 of 3. Dellavedova feeds a Garda who's firing from deep and off the mark. Sam Froling grabs the rebound. Ratam Mays very comfortable running this show. Hands over to Reith, in turn Cleveland, who stops, pops, a little deep with it, and Luala Chul grabs the board. First miss of the game for the Hawks. Here's Dellavedova. Golding working on Jessup. Decides to go on with wraparound pass. Jessup recovered well, but it still finds its way to Luala Chul, who in traffic fires, but unsuccessfully. Came back to Golding, who with a left hand can add another 2.
Just the breaks of the game, Golding in the right place at the right time. But one of the things I've noticed, Hammer, about Brian Goorjian, in the early part of the season, he was switching a lot on the defensive end. More recently, he's hard showing, and there's a straight line drive by one of the better defenders in Dellavedova. Gee whiz, again off a made basket. Melbourne United get it out. I still say in the first 8 seconds of a possession, Melbourne United are the most dangerous of any team in the competition, the way they push it.
Tick over 3 minutes played. As the Hawks go back again to Rattan Mays. So 2 of 2 from the field for his 4 points.
And you're right about the pick and roll defense from Brian Goorjian. Made a real difference in the pick and roll, was switching a lot. He came on the show talking about being a little bit soft with that. So they've been more aggressive, not wanting to get into rotations as well, and it's worked.
Did a good job defensively there to deny Joe Luala-Chul. And at the other end, Plum gets it to Frolling, who from close range helps himself to 2 more.
Well, it's free-flowing. Both these teams getting some really good looks. And Illawarra in particular, 6 of 7 from the field. Their only field goal miss was a 3-ball. And the pace of play.
A little bit of conversation there between Delhi and Antonius Cleveland.
He's not afraid to express his opinions, Antonius.
I like that.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with it.
White fires, he knocks down the 3. Melbourne are 3 of 4 from deep as they retake the lead.
That's just a great pass from Matthew Dellavedova, using a little pick and roll, pick and pop on that occasion. Really good find.
Rattan Mays looks inside. Cleveland against a Carter who's forced to foul. And Cleveland off to the free throw line. Made a living of that on Thursday night. Also, the last time these teams played, he took 14 free throws in the game. Cleveland.
He's a problem. He's really was a little up and down earlier on in the season, but the last month it's coincided with the really consistent form of the Illawarra Hawks has been his form, and he's an incredible athlete. But right now it's just not a whole lot of sophistication about the way Illawarra go about it on the offensive end. It's just space the floor, use their athleticism, get to the rim.
An enterprising start by both teams. Melbourne 5 of 9 at 56%. Up empty on this occasion. Chance for the Hawks to expand their lead as Jessup feeds Cleveland working baseline, feeding Rattan Mays. Got a good look, can't convert. Now a chance out and running. Golding pass just left a little to be desired, but Jack White was good enough to control it and come up with the finish.
It wasn't a great pass, but the timing of it was good, because had he taken one more dribble, he would have lost a little bit of space to be able to create that open layup.
A seesawing affair as they exchange the lead here at the moment. Rattan Mays, Frolling. Almost shut down quickly there by Porty, but he's able to get it done nonetheless. So 5 minutes played here in the opening quarter, and it is a tight tussle as we suspected. Dellavedova needs help. Porty with it. Reaching in from behind. Cleveland almost dislodged. They forced the jump there. Reed.
The pick and roll's better, sorry, Case. Pick and roll's better here because you're not helping off on Dellavedova, keeping it to a 2-man game. Where they have to be careful is they don't get in rotations when Matthew Dellavedova is playing off any pick and roll, because we know he's a pass-first point guard. He wants to be able to bring other people into the game.
Shaylee checks into the game along with Mason Peatling.
As does White, Isaac White, for the Illawarra Hawks. He had a good one the other night as well against Brisbane. Came in and, in the absence of Justinian Jessup, provided an offensive threat from the perimeter. And he's good. If he gets his feet set from the three-point line, he's pretty reliable. You certainly have to respect him.
This Rattan Mays shook Illy and knocks down another. So 6 points in the game now on 3 of 4 shooting. The Hawks have a 3-point buffer. Illy rolls it down low. Porty working on Sam Frolling. Muscles his way in from close range. Can't get it to go, but it's off to the strike.
And Brian Goorjian spoke about Rattan Mays and spoke about the fact he's trying to be able to get him to dribble a ball less. And that was part of their problem 4 to 6 weeks ago, is that he was over-dribbling it. And then he put a rule in place at practice that any more than 2 dribbles, it's a turnover. And he related it back to when I played for Brian Goorjian. We won a championship with Kavossi Franklin. He had to put the same rule in with Kavossi. And Kavossi was a great player. but sometimes some Americans want to take a few more dribbles. The ball sticks a little bit, not as much ball movement. And since they've made that adjustment, they have looked so much better at the offensive end.
Dean Vickerman making an adjustment as well as Uday Barber checks in for his first minutes back in the NBL. Hasn't played for some time, so there may be a little bit of rust there. And certainly his performance with the Texas Legends in the G League, he was 50-40-90 there, averaging 13 and 5. So he knows a quality player and good at the defensive end. So Hawks by 1. We count down the last 4 minutes of the opening quarter. Ratam Mays is putting on a show here. He has got 8 points. Hawks by 3. 3:57 left in the
whole
first.
team, the Illawarra Hawks, are putting on a show. 9 of 11 from the field. Just attacking that mid-range and getting to the rim, 81%. Some outstanding shooting and a little uncharacteristic reactive defense by Melbourne United. And the tempo of Illawarra Hawks are willing to really push it and get out there and attack. And everyone's got a license to go early and take whatever is presented. Dean Vickerman, I reckon the focus will be on the defensive end.
Hey, he's feeling pretty confident in his mid-range right now. Let's get into him a little bit more. Let's go over the first one, all right? Go over the first one. You be at a good level. We can pack in off the weak side a little bit more right now, all right? Just to support A on any kind of dive, all right? Make him see if he can throw to that one and we can make that recovery, all right? You keep him right, keep him downhill right now, all right? If it's way out here, you can duck under, but they're getting it lower and lower right now. You need to get into it and go over it. All right? Hey, when we're up here, let's see if we make someone else carry it and get it out of his hands and deny him a bit more. Here we go. Hey.
Well, that timeout was all about Ratam Mays and what they were going to do on the pick and roll. The initial mindset from United was to go under that pick and roll, and now he's been able to pick that apart. Now they're going to have to go over. They spoke about funneling him to the middle and making him play downhill, helping off on the weak side.
What a luxury it is to have Uday Barber coming back in late stage of the season. Someone that's going to real short transition period. Like you say, Case, hasn't played in a long time, but he knows the coach, he knows most of the players, and he knows the system.
Here's Peatling in a mismatch, working on Isaac White, firing against Froling, and Peatling comes up with his first score in the game.
Tough move. I like the fact he didn't just settle for the 3. Decided to be able to play with a bit of poise, put it on the ground and get to the middle as we see that defense reacted to Mays that time.
This is just some first quarter by the Illawarra Hawks. We talk about their defense the last couple of games, held this team to 77, Melbourne United, who are a very good scoring team, and then backed it up with holding the Brisbane Bullets to 70. But it's their offense on fire to start this one.
10 of 12 from the field at 83%. And Conrad feeling it at the moment. He's fouled, and he's off to the free throw line for a trifecta.
Flop. Is that a flop? Flop warning. And Conrad, he is in the All-Star 5 for ultimate green lights. He comes in, and he's got a license to let it fly. He's already hit one.
Heads to the free throw line here. He's been great all season from the stripe. Tim Conrad hasn't missed this season.
Ooh. Oh, that one didn't even look like missing it. He didn't even touch the net. It was that sweet. You see that?
And again,
even you can't put the mocker on him. Case.
Tyler Harvey, of course, missing Thursday night, missing again here. The back injury. He had 19 against Melbourne last Sunday, so they'll miss that output. But at the moment, they are coasting because Conrad makes it look easy. So 15 of 15 from the free throw line this season for Tim Conrad. They've opened up a 7-point advantage here. Scored the last 6 points in the game. And Melbourne need to find some offense here in the last 2.5 minutes as Newley takes them on and draws a foul on Emmett Nahr.
And that's right. Casey mentioned Emmett Nahr's name because he has not played much at all this season. And again, this is probably the product of Tyler Harvey missing. Brian Gorgin's really had a 8-man rotation, which is a great if you're in that 8 because you can really find your way. But Emmett Naar's only played in 7 games, only averaging 1 point a game. In fact, he's only had 7 field goal attempts. He's 7 of 4 in the entire season. So did a good job in that little stint when he went over for the Asian qualification with the Australian team, and seeing some early minutes.
Shayley with it. Looks for the penetration. Lob pass, and that's a nice finish as Jack White continues to impress here. 9 in the game for him on 4 or 5 shooting.
Great pass, though, wasn't it? Good recognition from White. Really cutting backdoor out of that corner as well.
Reed and Jessup, the only starters on the floor for the Hawks here at the moment. Tick over 2 minutes out from quarter time. Conrad being good, hands over. This is White. Got past Newley very easily and down low and draws a foul on Shea Illy, his first personal.
We see that back cut where you just, Conrad there, lost vision in a help position. White gets behind him. Shea Illy takes out White's feet. He goes to the line, but the Hawks had 25 versus United last week at quarter time. They've already got 26, and a bit of an issue now where Melbourne United really haven't found the answer at the defensive end. In that game last week, Illawarra Hawks won every single quarter.
Slow starts have been a problem this season for Melbourne United. They've come from double figures down 5 times to win. Jack White's been good so far. This time he's deep with a 3. Newley read it well. Got there before Conrad. And they'll reset here. Shot clock to single digits. They're down 6. Shooting the ball above 50%. But his first points, and he makes it look easy. Well, I love seeing that, the Melbourne faithful.
They certainly will. He was a 33% three-point shooter last season, averaged almost 8 a game. And you're going to have to show him a little bit more respect from the three-point line.
There's nothing on offer. Breathe, shot clock to 5, has to retrieve the ball, gets inside Luala Chul, who comes back for seconds, but Reith stays with it to get the 2. Well, they've got all the answers here at the moment. The Hawks up to 30 and a 5-point lead. Luala Chul picks up the dribble. Here's Newley. Again, shot clock to single digits as Newley penetrates it. Rolls home for him and a chance at a 3-point play.
This is where Melbourne United just show their depth. You spoke about the Illawarra Hawks really playing 8 players. And Melbourne United being able to bring veterans like Newley, Bubba now back in the lineup for the defense, but hitting that shot as well. And they have got a lot of players that have a lot of experience. And whilst at the defensive end they haven't got it done, I think Dean Vickerman will be happy at the offensive end. They're feeling pretty good about themselves and getting what they want in this first quarter.
Yeah, Illawarra just got to find a way to tighten up the defense, because offensively this equals their best first quarter of the season.
They've got time to improve on it as well as Reith fires, can't connect. Chance now for Shea Illy and Melbourne just to edge a little closer, and Jack White's been busy. An offensive foul going to be called here. Dean Vickerman doesn't like it.
That's what CG and Delhi got called for flops. Timmy. Hey, here we go.
I think that's a charge. I think it's a charge. It's just that drop step, moved right into him. He was well established. It's one of the softer ones, but I think it just tipped over the edge to make that the right call.
Oh, good lesson for him. He should have shot it. He didn't need to put it on the ground because they had a chance to go 2 for 1 as well with a wide open shot. But I mean, it was a soft charge. It was there.
That's right.
But they're just, what Dean Vickerman's saying is sort of right, because there just wasn't a lot of contact, even though he got to the spot. And he did a good job of exaggerating it without really flopping, if that's explained right.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if those that have been around too long would exactly know what you mean, but I do.
So foul called on Illawarra and Melbourne over the limit. They've got 5 fouls in this quarter, all individual fouls, and likewise the Hawks have got 4 players who have picked up 1 foul.
And you know, some players are just so much better than others at exaggerating that contact.
Yep.
Like if that was me, I just wouldn't have been able to do it as well. Not as gracefully. And you see guys,
True.
You do.
But it is spot on.
And you see guys like Wagstaff that, you know, are sort of known for flopping, but they have an ability to be able to take that contact and make it look like it's worse.
Well, I think guys like Chris Golding, Wagstaff, and even to a certain extent, Matthew Dellavedova, I think they're a victim of the flop, and sometimes they wouldn't have, I'm not sure they would have got that call just because of their reputation.
True. Last play of the opening quarter, Baba opens up for him, Reach recovered well, outside, Illy on the buzzer, knocks down the 3. Melbourne needed that. Both teams reached 30 here in the opening quarter, and the Hawks with their highest scoring opening quarter of the season enjoy a 2-point lead. It's Illawarra 32, Melbourne 30. Stay with us here for this heavyweight clash in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Well, there's a reason why the Illawarra Hawks and Melbourne United have been at the pointy end of the Hungry Jacks NBL ladder all season. What a high-quality affair this is, with the Hawks shooting the ball at 73%, Melbourne United at 61%. They've hit 5 of 8 threes, and they trail by 2 at quarter time. The Hawks have just been turning it on. It's been pretty to watch. And how about our FamCam winning family for tonight? The winner of the $50 Kmart gift card is Catherine Houdalakis. The young family of 4 love the NBL. The favourite team is Melbourne, and they love Chris Golding. Tick, tick, tick.
What a first quarter. Unbelievable. And it'll probably sound a little bit funny, Case, but I think I'd rather be Dean Vickerman than Brian Goorjian right now, because the way Melbourne got their points, I can see that continuing to flow on. The Illawarra Hawks, they were outstanding, but I'm not sure they can score the same way for the next 3 quarters. But it's going to be an intriguing battle.
And what real high-quality minutes so far by Uday Baba. He's come back in and really changed the game there. Again, a bit of defensive pressure. Justinian Jessup, it's a different world playing against Melbourne United than the Brisbane Bullets.
Golding thought he was fouled, couldn't get a whistle. It ended up being a pass to Illawarra, who works into the paint, can't convert. Rattan May snatches the rebound.
Jessup yet to have a field goal attempt, so they're really putting a lot of work into him after that 29 points he scored against the Bullets.
Reed. Well done, Illy. Just to close him down. Now, Illawarra just caught a little flat-footed there. Reith got past him. It came to Cleveland, who just changed the shot mid-air, put a little more off the window to add another 2.
I'm not sure what JLA was doing. Why was he up and in at the three-point line to allow Reith to be able to rip through in the first place?
Well, that'll make up for it.
Knocking down the 3. Good job from him. Let's go courtside. Pete Hawley was listening in with the Hawks.
Yeah, guys, I was listening to Brian Gorgian at quarter time, and Hammy, you're spot on. He wasn't happy at all and basically said he doesn't care what's happening on the offensive end. That'll take care of itself. If they want to win this game, it's going to be on the defensive end. You've got to blow up the handoffs, got to carry a hand and limit them to only one shot opportunity. Basically saying if they don't control that, if they don't fix that up, they're in for a long night.
We weren't expecting a scoring fest here between these two teams, but it's the first game in NBL22 where both teams have been at 30 or more in the opening quarter. And Illawarra starting to warm to the challenge here after he was scoreless in the opening quarter. He's got all 5 here at the start of the second. 2 minutes played, term number 2. Illawarra by a point. And Ratam Mays this time can't finish. Golding, well done. Look at the advantage of Illawarra. Now Shea Illy shares it with Golding, works inside Cleveland, fires, can't connect. First miss of the game for Golding. And they left Jessup alone. He can't make them pay. Catch a break there, Melbourne. After the breakdown, well done by Jessup. Pass deflected. And now it's Antonius Cleveland. Just couldn't finish it.
Interesting effort from JLA at the defensive end. Transition. But Cleveland, he really saved 3 points for the Illawarra Hawks by really running Chris Golding off the line, making him take an extra dribble. So there was a contested 3-point shot. But we spoke off air pre-game about Jessup being an X factor, knowing that he has the ability to be able to get 29, but also knowing that he can also throw in some games like this so far early. It was his first field goal attempt before. He's got a donut right now. It'll be very hit and miss.
Yeah, 10 points when these teams played here last Sunday. Had 18 when they met previously in round 7 at home. Shot clock to 5. Penetration comes from White. Couldn't manage the shot.
Really good defense by Sam Froling, though.
Yep.
Just slides his feet, uses his length and contests that play on the rim.
Harry Froling. Now Ratam Mays goes back to him. 9 on the shot clock. Can't complete it. Sam Froling gets the rebound, rejected by Hukporti. Chance now for United with momentum. They look inside. Oh, well done again there. Ratam Mays to deflect the pass. Loose ball scramble. Jessup comes up with it.
5 turnovers already for Melbourne United. Here's Dean Vickerman on the sideline. He'll want to run and push it, but at the same time, they won't want to be able to cough it up at the other end either.
And that's 3 in this quarter as well, Hammer. Inside 4 minutes. They had 2 at quarter time.
They had 19 in that loss last weekend.
Golding helps himself to 3 more to put Melbourne back on top. 8 points to 4. They've outscored the Hawks here in the first 4 minutes of term number 2.
I'm not sure what Chris Golding was there. He made a very nice play off that little screen and knocks down the 3. It was almost like he was angry at himself after he made it.
8 points in the game for Golding. White with 9 has more. Shot clock to red numbers here. Ratam Mays forced to take a tough shot. Couldn't get it to go, and just Melbourne grabbing some momentum here. Dellavedova to Golding. It goes back to Delhi for the 3. That's off the mark. And Harry Froling grabs the rebound, and they stood off him, so he's happy to do the ball carrying duties for the moment at least. Cleveland elevates, can't connect. Melbourne have had the better of this second quarter after the Hawks were all world in that opening quarter. It's 73% from the field, but now it's United who continue. Game-high 5-point lead for them.
We spoke earlier about Brian Gorgian wanting Ratam Mays not to dribble the ball so much, and now with the adjustments on the pick and roll, they've forced him to take more dribbles, and it's really upset really the flow that the Hawks have had.
That's a tough one. Jessup gets himself going, and all 3 field goal attempts have come in this quarter. So he's searching for his offense.
Mays will bring the Hawks back up the floor. Sam Froling. Over Jessup, back to Sam Froling. Contact, offensive foul. Helly, right spot, right time.
Well, that was a poor play by Jessup. Didn't read the rotation, so he hung Sam Froling out. It was just rolling to the basket. And you have a look here. See this rotation there? That pass needed to go all the way over to Cleveland. He would have had a wide open jump shot because that's Cleveland's man right in the middle of the paint, Matthew Dellavedova.
Yeah, the skip pass was the one, wasn't it? And it was wide open. And that's good adjustment by the Melbourne United defence. That rotation is what Dean Vickerman was talking about in his last time out, to concede, not concede, but to really come off that corner guy, regardless of who it is, to try and help with those on-ball situations.
Garner penetrates outside. Dave Barlow fresh onto the floor, and he's ready to go.
That's the advantage. The old man comes off the bench. He can still get it done. He's a great defender. Talk about depth of Melbourne United. They just keep rolling him out.
White back to Nah. Conversely, the Hawks were a little short-handed tonight. No Tyler Harvey. Here's Harry Froling firing unsuccessfully. It's a fair lineup Melbourne have on the floor at the moment. They've got 4 Olympians out there and the next star, but they've got some depth, which just makes them so hard to beat in a 3-game series when the finals roll around. Barlow. Newley. Cook-Porty. Shot clock to 10. One-way traffic since quarter time. Barlow fires again. Red numbers on the shot clock. Had to get it off quickly. Now Emmett Nah. Short brief. Positions well. Working on Barlow. Double team from Dellavedova. Nah, his pass is deflected. Cleveland. Works to the elbow, feeds the corner. White did well, got inside Newley, attracted all the attention. They'll get an open look from deep, but they can't convert.
Well, Froling's had 3 really good looks. Wide open looks from the 3-point line, and hasn't been able to knock him down.
He's 55% from deep this season. He's been great, but they were opportunities missed.
Yeah, that's what he's paid to do. And it just looked like he was thinking about that third one. And often you do that. You've missed your first couple, but you see he didn't hold his follow through. Not a lot of snap, but he certainly adds something different in that front line, Harry Froling, when he is knocking those shots down at the percentages you talk about, Case.
Barlow, Newley. Again looks for penetration, and Newley putting together some nice minutes here.
He certainly is, and that's what he's capable of doing. He's done throughout his entire career. He can get downhill, and when he gets that deep into the paint, he's got that good touch around the basket. And the veteran getting it done. 2 of 2 from the field. He's also picked up a couple of rebounds in his 4 or so minutes.
It's one-way traffic here, 16-8 in this second quarter. Melbourne, we've spoken about them hitting the 3-ball. They had 5 of 8 in the opening quarter and another 4 of 7 here in the second at the moment. And conversely, for the 3-point shooting for the Hawks, just 1 of 9.
And then when you get into the paint or you're getting open threes, great. All right. Next one on a set play. Otherwise, come in the patient playing out, move it like we are. We're going to go horn circle, but we're doing it with the 4, all right? So Barlow's going to come down. You're going to hold, all right? You're going to hold in the corner. Now he's sprinting straight back into it. You're going to go into the elbow here, and he's slipping straight out, all right? Slipping straight out. Look at it. Look at it.
Just as I go, yeah. It's going to be a 2-on-1. Hey, and then whoever's here, get ready to slide up, find the window.
Hey, our scramble down there has been great. Keep finding Harry Froling and shooters late. Here we go.
Just underscoring the 3-point shooting I was talking about. As you can see, the Hawks, they've had good looks, but they're 1 of 9. And Melbourne have been able to convert their chances.
Well, this is exactly what Hammond was talking about as we came out of that first quarter break. In fact, it was the highest scoring first quarter when you think of the combined 62 points between the two teams. But the way in which Melbourne were getting theirs was just a little bit more reliable, whereas Illawarra, as soon as their offense has gone off the boil, they have not had the answer down the other end to be able to nullify that. Their defense has not been able to really slow down Melbourne United. So as such, Melbourne have got their advantage.
Here's Cleveland with it now. Shot clock to single numbers. White against Newley. Not much on offer. Has to retreat. Emmett Nah looking to create. Can't finish it. Melbourne put a stop to it. Well, they've used 11 players, Melbourne. 9 of them have taken a 3. 8 of them have connected.
Wow.
And
That's
here's
an
Agata.
incredible stat.
Can't finish it on this occasion. But again, reaching in from behind. Ball dislodged by Newley. Presents an opportunity to Dellavedova, but he can't make them pay. So Melbourne by 8 points here after the Hawks had led by 7 in the opening quarter. Bree works inside Agata, steps beyond Dellavedova, helps himself to 2 more.
That's what I was talking about. So there was probably the same contact on that, but he didn't sort of fall back the right way that we saw in the first half.
That looked like a flop.
Yeah.
Barlow feeds Newley in the corner, off the mark. And coming in over the back, Agata's going to be called for the foul. It's his second personal. Now on Caleb Agata, we saw him fighting there for the rebound. He averages 6 rebounds a game, Caleb Agata. In the 2 games against the Hawks, he's had a game-high 13 and a game-high 15. So he's averaging 14. Now, is that a change of structure? Is that gets a different job to do? How do you go from averaging 6 to averaging 14 against one particular team?
Well, I think it's just a lot of it, the matchups and the role you have and the type of shots that your opponents are providing. Sometimes he'll be in with his defense. And
we're going to review for an unsportsmanlike foul here. They want to reach in and a grab.
I reckon he might have a chance. If you have a quick look here, he sees his beat, so he just grabs him from behind. And did he? Well, he did. Right there, the left arm, just on the jersey. Now, it's nothing.
Not a lot into it.
I'm not sure he grabbed him, though, did he? He definitely made contact, but you couldn't see him grab.
Well, I thought the jersey comes back. There.
Maybe a little.
Now, to me, that's play on, but I think according to the rules of the game, that's the correct call. Now, you can argue the twos and fro's whether that should be the rules, but based on the rules, that's going to be the 2 and possession. Couldn't quite see it from that angle. Matthew Dellavedova, get out of the way so we can have a look at that one.
You would have averaged 24 free throws a game if that was unsportsmanlike out back in the day.
I think we all, if we go back, which we probably shouldn't, but you see the way the game's officiated now, and your eyes light up of what perhaps could have been back in the day.
And I know
wasn't happy with averaging 40.
No, I'm just saying.
I could have easily averaged 50.
No, it's more about just the way, the protection that the offense have.
Protection? Oh, jeez. Thinking you were protected, all right.
You're joking.
But as we transition with this new unsportsmanlike foul, because we know why it's been brought in and what it's trying to achieve, I think during the
it's been around, what, 3 years? It's more than a transition now, I would have thought.
Well, I still think in terms of that call, as we're arguing here, as we're debating the fact that, you know, it's not really there. But once we get to where we want to be with this rule, then players will stop doing that.
Yeah, I don't think it was an intentional thing. I just think it was a reaction where there was a bit of contact.
Maybe
whereas
others,
but others, like you say, Case, you do see some of the unsportsmanlike fouls called. And I know from the coaching perspective, you're trying to educate players to say you can't put yourself in that situation. There's too big a penalty. You understand what it is. It's like when you're trying to foul at the end of a game. You have to practice fouling, going for the ball, knowing that you can't afford the 2 shots of possession to be given up.
And that the referees are looking for that and reading that, even if it's not there. It's Mace peels off a 3 with a shot clock in the background. Well, terrific fight back here from the Hawks. They were down 8 90 seconds ago. Back to a 1-point game. They've scored the last 7, and from close range, that's going to count for Luala Chul.
And it's those sort of plays where they're being able to get a piece of the paint. The penetration from Melbourne United all game has been exceptional, either for little dish off, whereas even though they've been able to wrestle back a little bit of momentum, that was a tough shot from Rattan Mays. Not one that you're sort of seeing that's going to be able to continue.
No, and one that you're not going to concede, but he's a 24% three-point field goal shooter. So even in the course, he had to shoot that one because of the clock, and that probably helped him in his mindset and the way in which it just relieved any stresses from him. But that's the sort of one with him, you just want to carry a hand, and if he starts making it, you'll make the adjustment. But that time, he's able to knock it down.
Illawarra can't make the extra there.
Both these teams having enormous problems keeping people in front and keeping them out of the paint.
Reith decides to go solo, couldn't finish it. Well done, Isaac White. Out of his weight range there to get the offensive rebound and earns a trip back to the free throw line.
They all ran away from him. They said, this little fella shouldn't be in there. They just completely ignored him.
He did a good job hitting early there against Golding. Just pushed him out of the way. Everyone went into other rotations. He said, I'll have a little bit of this.
The little fella.
You reckon you could have rocked this hairdo back in the day?
I wish I could have. It's right in your sweet spot, though.
I reckon I would have had a good hard crack at it. Throw a few blonde tips into that bad boy in the 90s.
You used to dote not only with the blonde tips and the sort of the tight sides, just a little bit of a perm action going on at the back.
There was absolutely no perm action coming from mine.
Mate, there was a bit of perm.
That was just natural.
Oh, was it natural curls?
Yeah. Unlike the colour. It was the only thing that was natural.
Well, Isaac White went to Stanford. I'm not sure if the mullet was big at Stanford, but more at his junior club at Sturt in Adelaide, it might have been more familiar. But Melbourne by a point here, and whistle on the play. Free throws to come now for Melbourne. The Hawks are going to be over the limit here. This has been quite an arm wrestle. Playoffs fast approaching, but this one's got a playoff feel, and when you consider it's first versus third.
Gee, there wasn't much in that. He agrees.
Tom Mays, his first personal. Referees have got their hands full here tonight with the two coaches who like to have conversations.
Well, not just the coaches having a conversation, the players having a little bit of yap. See Chris Golding turning around and having a little chat with Rattan Mays.
What a turnaround by Melbourne United. They gave up 32 points in the first quarter, and they've been so far able to hold this Illawarra team to just the 15.
3-point lead now for Melbourne. And shot clock differential in the game by 3 seconds here. Tom Mays, three that we just saw him hit his only score in this quarter, penetrates, found an opening. Cleveland all alone. Couldn't finish it. Kept it alive again there, but it spills to Illy. Not enough time for him to get an effective shot away, and halftime arrives here. And after Illawarra led by 2 at quarter time, it's Melbourne on top by 3 at the half. Melbourne 50, the Hawks 47. Entertaining affair.
Certainly was. Gee, being able to put some points on the board and getting their confidence up leading into this last part of the season before playoffs.
We'll get some reaction courtside. We'll get down to Pete Hooley in just a moment. Jack White impressive so far in the game, and he's standing by now with Pete Hooley.
Well, Whitey, he gave up 32 points in the first quarter, really clamped down in the second quarter. What changed?
Oh, no, I think we were just sticking better to the scouting report. I felt like our pressure up the floor was at a better level. We got to keep them off the glass. We had a few balls that we gave up at the end there. Keeps them at the free throw line. We can't give those up.
We're always going to expect a battle. We know the firepower that the Hawks have. What do you have to do in this second half to get the win?
Just keep playing defense. You saw how the game swings when we play defense in the second quarter. We can't let them get 20 points for this next half in any quarter. But we just got to keep pushing it, blowing up their offense, and, let our defense do the work for us on the offensive end.
Thanks, mate. Good luck in the second half.
Appreciate it.
Well, it's a finals-like atmosphere at John Cain Arena. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Round 18 of the Hungry Jacks NBL. It's champion round, and we'll tell you more about that as it goes on. But this has been a high-quality affair between top of the table Melbourne and the third-placed Illawarra Hawks. At one stage, the Hawks led by 7 in the opening quarter. Melbourne had an 8-point lead in the second term. 3 points separates them at half-time. I think still a great game to come in the second half.
Oh, it certainly is, and really good defence from Melbourne United. Some adjustments there, but at the offensive end, they've been able to really create 12 assists in the first half, only 5 turnovers, so they looked after that side. But the Illawarra Hawks, in saying that, they probably had 3 or 4 open threes. Froling, Cleveland had opportunities to be able to knock them down, so this is a great ball game.
It certainly is, and Melbourne United used 11 players already. It's quite extraordinary, but Jack White's been good. What an athlete he is, and Chris Golding got his 10 points pretty efficiently. Ruffin Mays, his 11 points in that starting role has flourished. And Reith, he's got 10 points, but he's 4 of 10 from the field, and it's the 3-point shooting that's really hurt the Illawarra Hawks. They've done a good job on the boards, in particular on the O boards, where they've picked up 5 of them, and turnovers has been pretty good by both teams. So only 5 to Melbourne United and 3 to the Illawarra Hawks, which is outstanding.
Yeah, a good platform to build from, and certainly Jack White provided that in the opening quarter for Melbourne. Not their go-to man in terms of scoring, so when he's able to step up and get it done early, well, that just opens the door for other players to come in as well.
And I think that's the way Melbourne United play. They're putting the ball on the floor, they try and get to the paint, score at a high percentage, but when that's not on, they're finding the open man in the corners, and that's exactly what they've done. 9 from 17 from the 3-point line, and even when we saw Dave Barlow come off the bench, capable of being able to knock that down. They've got so many weapons. Chris Golding's up to 10 points in that first half. He's got a couple of trifectas as well. Yeah,
there'd be some concerning sign for Brian Goorjian, because they haven't found the solution. They've been really good defensively over the last month, but tonight Melbourne United have been able to create some really good scoring opportunities, shooting it at a really good clip at 53% from the field. That's going to be tough to beat unless they can curtail that. If you've got to score over 100, you're not going to win too many games against Melbourne United.
No, that's exactly right. Let's have a look at Duop Reith's performance so far. He and Joe Luala-Chul, they've put up great numbers against one another, but Duop Reith just had the edge last time when they played, and again, he's just the edge in terms of numerically so far.
Well, he'd have to feel good going against JLA, no doubt about that. You just see the confidence that he's able to play with. He's aggressive. He's come into this trying to make a statement to say, OK, this is supposed to be one of the best bigs in the league. Well, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for this as well. I play for the Boomers, and right now he's been able to get that done. Probably need a few more boards in the second half as well, but because Melbourne's shooting the ball at such a high percentage, there's not a lot to get.
Yeah, well, the United, hard to beat when they get to a half-century at half-time. They're 5-0, so some work to do here for the Illawarra Hawks, and they're going to have to find maybe an X-factor. We know Jessup really hasn't been able to produce what he produced on Thursday night so far, but they're going to have to find points from somewhere else here if they're going to challenge Melbourne in the second half.
Oh, for sure. And but I still say it's the defence. When they've had their win, they held them to 77 points, and they're not going to do that tonight at this rate, giving up 50 already in the first half. And they forced Melbourne United into turnovers. Now, some of those in their previous game last weekend were self-inflicted, but just the intensity at that end of the floor. But if you're not going to play defence, you need to be able to get it going, and they're going to need some scoring contributions across a multitude of players from Illawarra. I don't think you can just... It's not like you got Jessup that's going to go out and get 30, or Tyler Harvey's not even there to put up big numbers, so they need to spread it around and get others involved.
We like to be a fly on the wall in Brian Goorjian's change room at the moment. Hammer, how's he travelling with Melbourne with 50 at half-time?
Yeah, no, not well. Not well. If he had hair, it wouldn't be there now. But, I mean, we know he's a defensive coach, and they've won 9 of their last 11 because they've made some great adjustments, and spoken about the fact they held him to 77 points. So he'll be really disappointed with that. But we're talking about how well Melbourne's playing. It's a 3-point game.
Yeah.
So he'd also be saying that there's opportunities in this second half to be able to make these adjustments and go and get another good win against the top team.
Great second half coming your way. Stay with us here on the Hungry Jacks NBL. It's Saturday Night Hoops, and we've got a 3-point ball game. Thanks for sharing your Saturday night with us here on the Hungry Jacks NBL 3-point ball game at the moment. And we wondered how Brian Goorjian would be going at halftime with his team giving up 50 points. Well, he was reluctant to share his views with us at halftime. That's how fired up he was.
Very
politely, but he's elected to...
Pete Hawley's just upset. There's less airtime for him, so he's shattered. But he'll bounce back. He'll regroup.
Ratam Mays, 11 points on 5 of 8 shooting, but he had 8 of those in the opening quarter and 4 assists. I think he's the sort of player that will enjoy this type of battle as well. So plenty on the line here. Hawks looking to grab second spot. Melbourne, well, they're trying to protect top spot that they've held for the last 8 weeks. And well, they had only 8 threes when they played Illawarra last week, Melbourne, for the game. They've hit 9 here in the first half. Can they continue that onslaught, Hammer?
Well, I think they can if they're allowed to penetrate and get into the paint and be able to create so many open shots. So really containment has to be what Brian Goorjian was talking about in the second half. And if they do that, then they give themselves every opportunity.
Well, Melbourne going with an unusual lineup to start the second. Well done, Cleveland, to just diffuse what was going to be an easy 2 for Shea Illy, who started the second half along with Barber and Hook Porty.
Yeah, that's a little surprising.
Hawks have gone back to their original 5. As Golding decides to fire, it's off the mark. Porty trying to keep it alive. Can't succeed, and Hawks are going to come up with it.
Probably over the last month or so as well, we've seen Melbourne United go with actually the Twin Towers with Illawarra and Hook Porty. They've started to play them, not a lot, but playing them a little bit more together.
I don't like it, Drewy.
It's a tough one. You're trading off and seeing, well, where can your advantage be? Oh, dear.
And easily getting to the 2. Here's Cleveland, and a chance at a 3-point play.
Just a little Spanish action right there, trying to get Jessup involved, really screening the screener. Kept Cleveland in the corner, extra pass, just ripped straight through.
Not sure what Dean Vickerman was so upset about. I think it was on the screening action. It didn't look like there was too much going on.
So tied away at 50 apiece here. Early stages of the third. And Shaley with the ball carrying duties with Dellavedova coming off the bench and goes on with the dribble. And Froling stayed right with him. Shot clock rolls to 5. And from close range, that's a tough finish from Jack White. There you see Sam Froling. That was what Dean Vickerman was complaining about.
Not a whole lot in that.
Cleveland takes them on with the extended arm. Couldn't finish it. Sam Froling did well to keep it alive. Duop Reith outside. Foul going to be called on Jack White. It's a funky lineup here from Dean Vickerman.
Really interesting, isn't it?
Starting Hook Porty and Udai Barber and Shea Illy. So Luala Chua, Agata and Dellavedova were the 3 they've replaced.
I reckon at the half-time they'll go in, they'll check their plus-minuses of what combinations, and they get a deeper dive into the stats and find out what combinations. In particular, I think they would have had a point of emphasis of defensively, and we know that Bubba, that's what he's renowned for it.
But then why wouldn't Daly be there? He's one of the best defensive guards in the league.
Well, he is, but just in this particular game with the matchups that they've had, maybe they've looked at and thought that perhaps he wasn't getting it done. He's offensively struggled a little, 1 of 5 from there, and Reith steps out and splashes one from the corner like he knew what he was doing from the 3-point line.
Well, they're back in front here, the Hawks. After Melbourne taking control in the second and led by as many as 8 points. Hook Porty went to dunk on Sam Froling. He wasn't buying it. And Cleveland leads the charge, off and running. Wants to go coast to coast. Finger roll wouldn't work for him. Loose ball. Illy gets it. And Jessup, no contact, no whistle. Elliott play. Jack White couldn't complete it.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you've got so much bounce that you don't know whether to dunk it or lay it in. And
there's from experience.
Well, Yeah, I'm throwing it, not making the pass. And that time,
so I've been told you should have started that with. But 2 great passes from Chris Golding, because the time before he came off a little pin down, a little curl cut through it, and they couldn't get it done. And then the same with the alley-oop, 2 baskets that really should have been made.
Well, the goaltend there, Shea Illy, just loses his feet. And this has been a huge contrast to what we saw in the first half. They've come out this second half and a number of turnovers and some real sloppy play.
8 points to 2 is the run here for the Hawks at the start of the third. As Reith slaps the ball away and is going to be called for the foul in the process, his second personal. But the Hawks, in their 10 road games coming into tonight, had outscored their opponents in the third quarter every single time. And this is about to make it 11.
So that's why Gorge was a bit narky at halftime. Said, I've got no time to talk to you guys right now, because I've got a little statement I've just made to my players, and I'm going to see where they come through.
Well, he was a little narky after that one as well. And there's a foul. Now, I don't know about you, Hammer, but one thing I have noticed has been spoken about a bit. The AFL have done an outstanding job of correcting some demonstrative behaviour. And right now, with the way in which these coaches and some of these players are carrying on, to me, it's gone a little too far. Now, it's hard because I was one of the biggest sooks running around. So I'm
glad you said it before I did.
No, but seeing this and the challenges the sport has with attracting officials and just, geez, these coaches get away with barking at the officials.
Penetration again from White. Closed him out hard, not sure why. See that pass from Dellavedova. Now Dean Dickerman's gone back and said, all right, Delly, with you sitting down, we've just given up our lead, so get out there and save us again. So I just wasn't sure about changing the starting lineup with key pieces like that. I had to look to see whether he had 3 fouls or something like that. But, you know, Delly brings the culture and the leadership and all of those little things that I think creates that stability for Melbourne United.
Didn't get to the stripe at all in the second quarter, Melbourne. This is their first trip since quarter time. Jack White continues to impress here. Now up to 13 points in the game. He joins Reith and Rattan Mays as the high scorer in the game. 1 point differential, 3 minutes played, term number 3. So all the heavyweights of the Hungry Jacks NBL. This is Jessup firing. A flop warning and
no
technical foul.
So they've had 1 warning. Yeah, that should be a double tech.
No, he gets a fair penalty. I don't think there was a push, Dean. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't think there was at all.
That was just very poor acting.
So Barber gets a technical foul. But it was an exaggerated move, wasn't it?
Let's have a look at this angle. No, that's terrible acting, please. That deserved.
5 minutes on the sideline for that.
Oh, well, that's a bit.
You go to the naughty corner for that.
You're a hard man, Hammer.
Oh, we don't want that in the game.
So interesting stage of the game. This has been an arm wrestle. Hawks by 7 in the opening quarter. Melbourne by 8 in the second. Hawks on top here in the third, looking to move up the ladder to second. And Melbourne, another defeat at home, back to back. Rattan Mays with single numbers on the shot clock here. Guarded by Dellavedova, decides to go solo, can't convert. Lala Chul brings a stop to it. Rebound number 4 for him. Reith with 6 leads that category in the game. Dellavedova, tough pass. Well done, Golding. Nice inside look for Jack White, who adds another 2.
Really well read by Chris Golding. He knew what was happening and played ahead, a pass ahead of what was happening, and came up with an easy one for White.
Well, and equally as good by White. He's doing a good job of reading when to cut. So the extra pass went from Dellavedova. As you say, Drewy, just a good heads-up play from Golding. But, you know, White had to make the decision to go there on that, straight to the basket, and he's done a really good job at the start of this third quarter.
He scored all 6 points Melbourne have scored. since half-time, Jack White. As you can see, Bubba with 3, Jessup and Reith with 3 apiece here as well.
And the thing I like about White, we know he's a great defender, we know he's a great leader, but he does things differently than the other players. He wants to get inside the paint. Does it because he's a great athlete, but it's a good feel for the game as well. And you know they hit 9 threes in that first half, but you know him being able to contribute at a high percentage, he's shooting the ball at 67%. It's just a really nice piece for this team.
Hawks continue to be perfect from the free throw line. They're 17 of 17, and Isaac White's a perfect 6 of 6, and they've got it back here for Harry Froling. Had trouble from the three-point line so far in the game, so decides to look inside. Nothing on offer for him. Ratan Mays in a mismatch against Illawarra Chul. Steps beyond him, found Cleveland. What a pass, and nice finish as well.
He just jumped on the pogo stick and just went bang and went straight up. What a pass, what a fine and good full court defensive pressure. Forces a turnover. Illawarra Chul loses his feet and just has a... What would you give to have those types of hops? Just to experience that once in your life. Bang, bang, straight up. His head's on the rim and stuffs it in with the 2 hands.
Well, that was impressive. And speaking of impressive, another man who fits into that category is Dyson Daniels, young up-and-coming prospect. Oh, yes. Looking for the NBA. Well, he's courtside at the moment with Pete Hawley.
Yeah, guys, I'm with projected top 10 pick, and that's why we're in the celebrity row. Dyson Daniels. Dyson, welcome back. What are you up to while you're back home?
Yeah, thanks. Glad to be home. I'm just, home chilling with family and friends, just working on my body, working on things I need to work on, heading into the draft. So, good to be home for a little bit.
Now, you took a different pathway to try and get to the NBA draft to prepare yourself. How'd you find this experience?
Yeah, I think I took a risk, heading over with the G League Ignite, but for me, it was a great experience. I learned a lot, developed on and off the court, and it worked out. So, I'm glad I took it.
Now, you've been keeping a close eye on the NBL. What's impressed you most from afar?
Yeah, I've been following Melbourne. That's the team I go for. So, I wasn't able to watch many games because that was like my 5 a.m.s, but, I kept an eye on the box score, and, I'm just glad Melbourne's doing well. So.
Well, good luck. We can't wait to see you in the future, and maybe you can lend me those Gucci shoes one day.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate it.
Up to you, fellas.
Doesn't miss a beat, Pete Hawley, all over the shoes.
I reckon he has, Case. Don't worry about the shoes. What about the diamonds, mate? Have a crack at some of them.
Projected top 10. He's currently number 10, ESPN's top 100 for the 2022 NBA draft. Jeng at 19, Besson at 32. Lots of talent here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. And right now it's the Hawks who had the better of the third quarter. Spin the ball back to Mays.
Back to Daniels. He really is an exciting young player. Somebody that you just see when he does get to the NBA. A little bit like Josh Giddey, that you just see his body type, and he's such a good defender and so exciting. Talking about him with the Boomers too, Drewy, and the future, what we've got coming up.
Some very good players are going to miss out, so that's a great problem that Brian Gorge is going to have when it comes to his work with the Australian national team.
Illawarra Chul, that was a tough shot, but he came up with the goods. His first score in this third quarter. He's had to play second fiddle because Illawarra Hawks Antonius Cleveland is getting it done. He's got 7 points in this quarter. Now he's got 10 as he reels off another 3.
Wow. Well, it speaks for Brian Gorge, and you mentioned earlier, Case, that the Illawarra have played 10 road games, and in every one of those road games they've won their third quarter. And what it does say is Brian Gorge assesses what's going on in the first half, and he's able to make some changes and really get it going when they come out from half-time.
Golding forced to pull the trigger on a deep 3. Can't get it to go. And Ratan Mays grabs the rebound after Antonius Cleveland had distracted Joe Illawarra Chul. So tick over 4 minutes out from three-quarter time. Melbourne have scored just 8 points in this quarter. They had 30 in the first term. But it has dried up, and the Hawks have put the screws on them. And Cleveland, well, they can't stop him at the moment. This time, it's a heat check.
That is not his game. He's been incredible, really, this year, and plays a perfect role. We see him playing off the ball and cutting the basket with his dunk and then the wide open threes, but playing off the dribble and having to use a sidestep against that sort of defense is not his go. But
he can shoot the 3. Like the penetrating dish, is where when he's wide open, when their bigs help out, he's 35%, 13 from 37, which is not bad.
Good. I reckon if we broke that down to how many he's made and what percentage off the dribble
I'd say
three,
maybe.
Here we go.
Maybe 1 or 2, perhaps.
But with his feet set, as we've already seen tonight, he made that one only a couple of minutes ago. He's a quality player. And he's the sort of player that you would think that Brian Goorjian, if he's still in Illawarra, would want to be locking him in right now.
Yeah, but he's been able to produce regularly this season. Tonia's Cleveland. Dellavedova finds Peatling working the baseline, overcooked the shot. Emmett Nah with it now against Dellavedova. Number 1 and number 2. All-time assists at St Mary's. Going head-to-head here. To White. Agata shut him down. Now they've got a chance to run, but ball is slow in getting back to Agata. Working on Nah. The offense just spluttered here in this third quarter for Melbourne. Luala Chul takes on Harry Froling. Earns a trip to the free throw line.
Emmett Nah's going to be a good pickup for someone next year.
Well, we saw him with those boomers, the way he can create for others, and his perimeter game has improved since his time that he came out of college. In fact, we've got the all-time leader and the second all-time leader assist getters from St Mary's University playing in this one with Emmett Nah and Matthew Dellavedova. But you're right, I think there's a role for him. He's high basketball IQ and he can distribute the ball. Actually, I undersold Reed's 39% from the three-point line, so he can.
Reed.
Melbourne back to within 5 here. A little over 3 minutes out from three-quarter time. And the travelling violation is called by Dean Vickerman and the referees as Isaac White turns it over. 6 turnovers now for Illawarra. They had 3 at half-time. This has been epic, hasn't it? One way, back the other. Team getting on a roll. The opposition making adjustments, working something a little different. Luala Chul's starting to warm to the occasion. They present the double team to him here as Illy works inside. Newley from the 3 can't get it to go, but gets it back. Needs help. Here's Agata. That's only his second field goal of the night.
There's 2 more wide open threes from being able to put the ball on the floor, penetrate, get a piece of the paint, and then open that thing up from the perimeter.
Agata's been really patient. There's that IQ I was talking about. Knew that he's never going to out-jump someone at the rim. And just an unfortunate... His Nah goes up, little head fake, just the leg. Nasty fall by Agata.
Well, when we talk unsportsmanlike, have a look at his left hand, right hand, was it? Right there on the shoulder. I think we've got a better view on the other angle.
Terrible.
And he's probably just trying to save himself.
Trying to break his fall, wasn't he? He's just looking for that. Was a nasty tumble.
But I think it's still got to be looked at, right?
Yeah.
From
Agata as he was falling, just out of control, put his hand out just to brace himself and caught Emmett Nah across the...
But he also, by doing that, and you have a look here on that right hand, also stopped him being able to get an N1.
Oh, surely that's not going to... He's just trying to... He's in self-preservation mode.
Yeah, but he still stopped him illegally and intentionally from being able to get this shot up. Even though 100% that's what happened.
It's just self-preservation, just worried about
But to me, that's more
I know that that's a defence, though.
To me, that's more unsportsmanlike the one before in transition.
Yeah, that is...
No, he's pulled him down by the neck, and that's what's happened afterwards. So he's got to go. He's just his second one.
That's the one that I hate.
You're not allowed to save yourself.
So he's gone, is he out?
You're not allowed to save yourself.
Is Caleb gone?
He's gone. You're not allowed to save yourself.
Well, mitigating circumstances, but that is when it's a second and you're out of the game, Agata's gone.
Gee, I agree with Dean Vickerman here.
Yeah, but by doing that, he also stopped Nah being able to get a three-point play intentionally by grabbing him.
No, but the foul was initially with the leg. He's hooked him there. So what happened there after that was just him trying to save himself. So the foul is because he's come over, he's jumped on top of him, fouls with the leg. Okay, now I'm in a situation where I'm just trying to protect myself, so I grab on. That would be my argument in that circumstance.
That definitely happened. There's no doubt that happened. But by doing that, he stopped him being able to get a three-point play illegally. He fouled him twice.
Yeah, but I don't think the first one was unsportsmanlike.
It wasn't.
That's my
It wasn't.
point. Yeah.
Oh, 3-point ball game, a little over 2 minutes out from three-quarter time. So much riding on this with the Hungry Jacks NBL playoffs not far away. Melbourne trying to cling to top spot. Inside, Peatling comes up with the 2.
Really good pass and a great cut from Peatling. Saw his man ball watching, just got behind his vision. Got an easy one.
Tar Mays kicks outside. Fires short. Loose ball between the legs of Illawarra. Newley gets after it. Now Shea Illy.
Smart play by Golding. Helped off Nah. Knew that he could create extra help.
Peatling decides to fire the 3 and knocks it down. Melbourne back on top on the back of a 5-0 run.
Peatling's been good. He's only played limited minutes, just a little over 4 minutes in the contest. He's 3 of 5 from the field, and he's given a little spark on the offensive end.
He was good for a couple of minutes in the first half too.
Well, the Hawks being challenged here. What have they got? Tar Mays, pocket pass, close range. It's Dupree cleaning up his own mess and adding another 2. 15 in the game now for him, including 5 in this quarter. As we move inside the last 60 seconds of the third, and Illawarra puts it on the deck against Reed, takes him on, gets the answering to as we go courtside to Pete Hooley.
Well, Caleb Agata situation, we know he picked up that other unsportsmanlike foul, but he looked in a lot of pain once he got back underneath the players' race, so much so that he basically fell onto the physio's table. Wouldn't have expected him to be checking back into the game if he was able to anyway.
Yeah, almost involuntary noises coming from Caleb Agata when he hit the deck. As you can see, that was a nasty fall. He has landed very heavily on his back and a little lower.
And I need to send out a very serious correction, because the great Daniel Kickett is watching, who started the whole process. When you think of St Mary's University, because I think he said that I've called it St Mary's College, and that is just a complete no-no. And just rightfully sent a message through, said, hey, you need to fix this up quick, smart.
While he was on that, he also corrected you on who's the hottest team in the NBL right now when you called it Illawarra.
I said that earlier. Second
was that in rehearsal?
That was in rehearsal before you corrected me off the air.
Well, I might message him to say message you, because you've forgotten about the Sydney Kings right now.
No, they were my pre-season pick to win the whole box and dice, so they're making me look very good.
Good response from Melbourne after the Hawks had opened up a 7-point lead. They've been able to turn it back their way, so they lead by 4. It's a 14-3 run in favour of Melbourne here in the last 4 minutes. Golding, they left him alone. It's a dangerous thing to do, because Golding can fill it up from very deep and does just that.
You better know the scouting report. You cannot go on under any on-ball screen against Chris Golding, no matter how far he is from the three-point line.
For Tar Mays with the answering triple. Well, they are standing toe-to-toe here. 2 of the heavyweights of the Hungry Jacks NBL going at it. It's Melbourne by 4 with a quarter to play. 75-71 the scoreline. Stick around. Exciting final quarter still to come. Welcome back. Saturday Night Hoops here. Hungry Jacks at NBL and round 18. And, well, it is champion round where we celebrate champion round. Head to the champion website tonight or tomorrow. You can receive 25% off your champion order. Enter the code word NBL25. Now, not only are we dishing up an outstanding game of basketball here, 75-71, but 25% off your champion order. Enter the code word NBL25. Get the champion. Get around some of their good gear.
I got a hoodie from Champion about 10 years ago, no joke, that is still going really well.
Here's Golding, talking of going really well. This time can't complete it. But important phase of the game, the start of the fourth.
Who wins it from here? Who wins it from here, boys?
Well, the fact that Melbourne United, as Reith knocks down the 3-ball, outscored the Illawarra Hawks 17-6 over that last 5 minutes of the third. You'd think that the momentum's going their way, but straight away the Hawks come back and knocked one down. That was a beautiful set, wasn't it? Went through some hands, little drop-off pass, and nice finish at the rim.
Well, both Andrew and Shane pre-game were talking Melbourne as their selection, and I went with the Hawks, and I don't think anyone's prepared to change right now. This is up for grabs. Dean Vickerman again with plenty on his plate. Froling shut down. Hook Porty's been good. Here's Newley sharing it. Heatling working inside Sam Froling. Nice finish from the big man.
He has been very good in limited minutes. Only 7 minutes, up to 9 points, but playing with great poise, making really good decisions with every touch.
90 seconds played in the final quarter, back to a 5-point buffer for Melbourne. Biggest lead we've seen at any stage was Melbourne's 8-point lead in the second. And look at Rattan Mays on cue. Drop another. 18 now for Xavier Rattan Mays.
He's got 7 dimes too, Case. So part of his game that we spoke about, the fact Gorge didn't want him dribbling the ball as much, and it's probably been a really good adjustment for him for this role of what the team needed, because his stats have actually increased. He's been more valuable and the team's winning from it.
Both these teams enjoy a great sixth-man role. Shea Ili for Melbourne, Xavier Rattan Mays for Illawarra. I'm sure they'll both be high up in Pete Hooley's estimation as he tries to find who the winners of the awards are going to be. It's time Peatling can't get it to go. So a chance for the Hawks just to edge a little closer. Rattan Mays against Illy. It's a good battle. The pass was behind Sam Froling. He couldn't handle it. Chance now for Peatling. Shares it across. Illy. And Golding guarded by Jessup. Works it down low. Cleveland with his hands full here against the big man Hook Porty, who uses the left hand over the top.
He has improved enormously as the season's gone on, got into shape, and he brings that to the table on a consistent basis. Then he's going to get a better look in at the next level.
Reith guarded by Peatling. Shot clock to single numbers. Turnaround in the paint. Wouldn't work. Porty slapped it away, and now Peatling hands over to Illy. Golding, the only starter on the floor here at the beginning of the fourth for Melbourne. And Shea Illy's going to earn a trip to the free throw line.
3 starters about to come back from Melbourne United as well. 7 minutes to go in this game. It's a nice little pick and roll, little step up there for Shea Ili, being able to get himself to the basket. Probably be a bit disappointed that he wasn't able to put that in as well as get the free throw.
Four fouls now for Reith. It's Melbourne 81, Illawarra 76. Tick over 7 minutes left here in the blockbuster. How's Brian Goorjian tracking right now? He obviously requested that his team lift in the third quarter. And while they did lift and they opened up a 7-point lead, it was Melbourne who owned the last 4 minutes of that quarter. And that was despite losing a Garter to a second unsportsmanlike foul. and Barber giving up a technical foul as well.
I felt like part of that was the starting five that Dean Vickerman came back with after the half. Then when he got his starters back, they got their momentum going again. They finished the half with the same sort of momentum they did in the first half, or finished the third quarter, should I say, and now they've started pretty well in this fourth.
Coaches having to earn their money tonight, and such a pivotal game as well. Melbourne 15-6 on top of the ladder, and the Hawks 15-8 in third position, but a win takes them to second. And 5 games left for the Illawarra Hawks. After this game, they've got to play Perth, and they have to play Sydney home and away. It's a tough stretch for them.
Well, it is, and if you're the Phoenix and the Jack Jumpers, I think you'd be hoping that Melbourne got this one. Because when you look at the schedules of some of these teams, it's Illawarra's got one of the tougher runs when you consider they've still got the Kings twice.
You think one of those teams is still a chance?
I think they are. If
what percentage chance?
Low. I think it's low. Pretty low.
You just won't give me a number, will you?
No, I think that it's, you look at, there's the next run of games for the Illawarra Hawks, and that is a tough proposition. That game against the Brisbane Bullets is looking like it's...
Well, they lose here and they only win one more. That's 16. Certainly the Phoenix will think that they can get to 16. Percentage could play a role again. Here's Cleveland, baseline. They can't prevent him from getting to the rack and adding another 2. He's got 20.
He's tough. Tough. And he needs to continue to have that mindset with his cutting and the ability to be able to put the ball on the floor and finish at a high percentage.
Good pressure too, the defensive end from Cleveland. They get the ball outside. Shot on the front of the rim there. Barber. And Jessup has been a non-factor in this game. The blood rule saw him change his regular number 10 into the 97, and he's almost disappeared. We haven't seen the real Justinian Jessup. Certainly not the Jessup from Thursday night when he had a career-high 29. He's got 3 here, Jessup. Shot clocked at 2. Needs to get something happening. Worth waiting for.
On cue, Case. He had 4 field goal attempts. That's just to the great work of Melbourne United. And there's Bubba. He works well off the ball as well as with the ball. In the open court, he can get to the cup, but that time just good movement. And they find him on that little slice cut to the rim.
Great pass and cut, but Illawarra, they have to get away from their last possession. Even though they scored, I reckon Rattan Mays took about 16 dribbles and left them with a play to make with the last 5 seconds of the shot clock. We've spoken about they're better when they start moving people on the ball.
Here's Bubba. Little give and go, and as easy as you like. And that's... See right there, you don't really see it. You can see the green shoes. That's the beauty of having a lights-out shooter. That guy in the corner is so reluctant to come off and be on that split line and that help position because you're guarding shooters in the corner. In Chris Golding, it was on that occasion. Tough. That's nice. 9 of 14, 7 assists, 5 boards.
Other end, Golding comes up with a 3 ball. So he's got 16, including 4 triples.
Good things happen when you put Chris Golding in any sort of action, whether it's with the ball in the pick and roll or some sort of screening action away. Just attracts so much attention that good things happen for everybody.
Seesawing affair here from John Cain Arena, where both teams have been in front in the 3 quarters completed. Foul on Golding.
You're spot on with Chris Golding, Hammer, and I actually think if you were going to choose, well, where is he at his stride, is when he's moving off the ball, when he's coming off those staggered screens or working on those little pin downs. He uses his bodies well, and he can just create enough separation with his shooting technique and the way in which that he can get it off that it's hard to guard.
He's hit 2 threes tonight off pick and roll situations, so I think it needs to be mixed up when he's playing with and without
Absolutely.
it. Just good things happen.
Dellavedova gives Cleveland some of his own medicine. Melbourne with a chance here to expand on a 6-point lead. Dellavedova takes them on off to the free throw line. Cleveland picks up his third personal. He wants to challenge it here.
Oh, we might have a good claim.
Yeah. You got to call it both ways. No, I don't care about all that. Okay, tell me what you want. Brian, tell me what you want. I want to question it. It's the same call.
He wants to challenge. Question, I think he means challenge.
So they will challenge the hands foul called on Cleveland. It was his third personal. Not a ball involved here, but you don't need too much contact.
There was a lot of ball. I think he might be a chance. It's hard. You don't really get a close look at it, but that I'm no good at these.
I tell you, you know what I'm not going to do?
What?
I'm not going to guess like that referee did at the right of screen because he couldn't see. But he's called a foul.
Was it the guy on the
right there?
Right.
Puts his hand up as the foul is called, but he can't actually see.
Oh no, it's not. That's pretty clean. Yeah, you're right. It just would be a tough angle.
He can't see.
I think he just sees the reaching in and doesn't realise that
and he sees the reaction, but then that's a guess.
Cleveland, he called it up.
I think he's going to.
Vaughan Mabry in the hot seat here at the moment as we wait for an adjudication.
I think he might win this one, Hammer. Really? Which is not good for Brian Goorjian because my record's poor.
Well, 4:26 left on the clock. Melbourne by 6. And I remind you that no more than 8 points has separated these teams at any stage. It has been great arm wrestle and worthy of a playoff extravaganza.
Coach's challenge is successful. The call is overturned. We have a jump ball in the centre circle as the player was in the act of shooting. Illawarra get their timeout and the coach challenge.
You know, Drew, he struggled all year when he gets one right and he calls for the high five. you know, when he's celebrating in the commentary booth when he gets one right.
Yes.
Call it the same.
Well, the coaches lament, but I think just consistency is what they're after.
And this is why that rule is so good. That at this stage, that was a critical call that you couldn't see. So you don't guess that, and now we get an opportunity to be able to go back and revise it. And, I wish the NBA would take some of these rules. Oh, my!
Cleveland adds to it by coming up with a flush.
It's a 4-point turnaround case.
And back to 4 the difference. Now foul going to be called on Jessup. It's going to be his 4th personal foul.
Not fair.
This is just a beautiful pass.
Hey, that's a warning. No more. A warning here.
When you've got someone like Cleveland who's got those types of hops, you've got a large margin for error on the passing. Just get it up there anywhere 10.5 feet or higher, and he's going to go get it for you.
Copes might say he provided that for you.
Well, he did. My word, he did.
Hawks get a stop as well. Inside the last 4 minutes, up for grabs. Second spot for the Hawks, top spot for Melbourne. Latar Mays with it, shot clock at single numbers. He fires the 3 off the mark. Greek almost had it. Jack White puts a stop to it. Hawks can't afford to foul now. Cleveland doing his best. His White goes back on with it. Ran into some good D. Well done there from Harry Frolling. Prevented the 2 and a chance again for the Hawks to edge a little closer. Golding going to be called for the foul. His 3rd personal. 2nd team foul on Melbourne in this quarter.
Golding's doing a great job of trying to fight over the top of those screens, and that time he gets called for a little holding foul. But there you see it. Or maybe it's the hook, because just trying to hook his way around Cleveland. I assume that's what he got called for, because it didn't look like there was a whole lot of holding going on with Jess.
And I think that is a foul. I think it's right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, delay game. No, it's not. The last 2 minutes is a tech. Delay game. Delay game. In the last 2 minutes, it's technical.
He'd be a referee. It is a tough gig, particularly when you've got 2 great teams. So much on the line going at it here. A little over 3 minutes out from a decision. Harry Froling did well, worked inside Jack White, pushed Golding out of the way and came up with a score. His first in the game.
Great take from Harry Froling. Used that little up fake, got himself to the basket. Good finish. Recognised Golding was in the circle as well and just used him to be able to go up and lay it over his head.
Ratar May stole it away from Golding, and now Cleveland in the open court gets some treatment from Illy, who prevented the easy two. Well, that's the defensive hustle that Melbourne are known for.
Play before this, see Harry Froling, like you mentioned, good recognition. And that time, trailing the screen, comes from behind and great hustle by Illy.
Hawks looking to tie it away on this play. Do a breathe, forced into a tough shot, left it short. Illy, all the passes are poor, and Bubba had turned his back. It's picked off by Rattan Mays. And every possession now critical. Fans getting involved as well. First of our double headers on Saturday night in the Hungry Jacks at NBL. Cairns and the Phoenix to come. Got breathed against Luala Chul. Tough shot. Low percentage. Couldn't get it done. So a chance for Melbourne to expand the advantage. Jack White picks up the dribble. This is Golding. Now White against Jessup. Beats Illy in traffic. That's a tough shot. Couldn't get it to go. Inside 2 minutes to play. Hawks down 2 with possession. Ratar Mays. 20 points for him. Only Cleveland with 22 has more in the game. He's holding on to the dribble, working to the elbow. Wants to go solo. We're tied at 88.
Just a simple middle on ball. They run the shot clock down, and he comes open and steps into a wide open mid-range. Luala Chul, Uday Bubba's going underneath.
And just a metre inside the three-point line. And we heard Dean Vickerman in the timeout saying you're going to have to be able to go over that, because that's how he killed Melbourne United in that first quarter when he got those mid-range jump shots.
Well, both these teams have played overtime already this season, and it beckons at the moment. 1:42 on the clock, 88 apiece, and never more than 8 the margin at any stage. Melbourne by 8 in the second, Hawks by 7 in the third. It's the biggest differential we've seen.
It is, and just in certain contexts of games, you'll have your defensive rules, but when you've got Rattan Mays, who's before that jump one, he was 9 of 15. He's now 10 of 15. You heard Dean Vickerman in that first half changing his defensive assignment on him, and then at a very crucial time, just to go underneath that screen, and really just stepped into a free throw.
Yeah. Especially because Bubba, that's his game. That's what he does at the defensive end. See the matchup head-to-head between two of the better big men in the competition, and Reed's probably done best, had more opportunities, but has done really well tonight. And JLA, as you spoke about, Drewy, his form's really dropped off in the second half of the year.
So Melbourne with possession, tied at 88. Shea Illy with the ball carrying duties, hands off Jack White. Golding gets involved as well. Shot clock to 10. And beyond, Cleveland giving Illy plenty to think about. Goes to White outside, can't convert. Reed did well, lost the headband in the process. Go back and retrieve it.
I'm sure that's the shot they were looking for after the timeout, to get White for the 3-ball.
Ratar Mays, 22 points, 9 assists in this game. Been making things happen for them. Works to the same spot, gets the same result. The Hawks are back in front.
He's made such a high percentage, 11 out of 17, being able to come off those on balls, and wow.
8 unanswered points from the Hawks here has put them back in front inside the last minute. Only 5 players in the league have had double-figure assists this season. Tajir McCall, Jalen Adams, Lamar Patterson, Scott Machado, and Jason Kadee. And Machado and Kadee with 11 is the high watermark.
when he's got 9, but he's got 4 steals as well, Case.
It's been great. Doing this without Tyler Harvey. Here's Illy. Oh, nice pass. Attracted multiple defenders. It left Jack wide open, and he ties it at 90.
That 3 guys running at the Illy, and that's just too many. He needs to be able to get your help, but didn't need all 3 trying to contest that shot.
Shot clock to single numbers. Rattan Mays with it. Duop Reeve with a 3. It's off the mark. Harry Froling keeps it alive and gets it done and draws a foul.
Huge.
Massive play from Harry Froling, who's had a quiet night, but he's come good when it's counted most.
He really has. The play before where he was able to get to the basket, score that, and then he saw the shot going up. That's just extra effort to be able to put himself in the rebounding competition and get that offensive board and then stay strong through the contact to be able to finish. Well done, big fella.
That's a huge play. Reith, almost guaranteed that that's not what they were looking for as well.
Not at all.
Taking the 3 ball. And now it's a real challenge. Hammer, we've seen some funky lineups with Melbourne United, and I don't know what's going on with Matthew Dellavedova. He's only played 18 minutes in this contest. And in crunch time, we saw a couple of weeks ago that Luala Chul was sat down for the last 4 minutes. And that was the game against, might have been against Phoenix down the stretch, and now it's Matthew Dellavedova, who hasn't had a great one. He's 1 of 7 from the field. And he's spending some extended time on the bench in this contest.
Obviously deep in the game, we can't get a microphone into the huddle, not allowed in the last 2 minutes. For Melbourne, well, they have dominated the Hawks in terms of overall record. 21-9 is their head-to-head. And certainly been on top at home as well. But this is the start of 4 games in 9 days for Melbourne. They're at Perth on Monday, so they can ill afford to drop one. And well, the Hawks have really been strong here. They were down 6 with 5 minutes to play.
Well, these are the last 4 baskets. We saw Froling, then Rathan Mays does his thing, and then we go back to Froling. Right place at the right time. The air ball helped out Froling and made the challenge a little tougher for White, and he was able to knock down the free throw to put the Illawarra Hawks in the favourable position.
It was terrific execution, as Hammer said. He had to stay strong. He eyeballed Jack White, who said, yeah, I'm coming. And he knew that he had to stay strong with it and get the shot away so he could make that and get the extra. An 80% free throw shooter this season. That was a great play. And pressure on Melbourne United here. Dropped the game to the Hawks last week by 15, and here they are, 26 seconds to go, 14 on the shot clock. Illy inbounds it. Luala Chul against Reith. Shot wouldn't work for him, and Cleveland grabs the rebound and is fouled in the process.
Rather than go for the 3, they went for the quick 2. So this would have been a designated play here. Get it to Luala Chul, get it to the rack, and Reith does a good job of contesting it, and Cleveland comes in and does some work for team foul now for Melbourne United. Oh!
Well, the restart wasn't great. They took it from the baseline. The shot clock was out of the equation, but they've come up with the error. And Cleveland, more pressure from Bubba.
Just a count late on the pass, and as such, Melbourne United get another chance at it.
Well, they've only had 11 turnovers all night, Illawarra, and that could be a costly one. Well, it is a costly one. It opens the door for Melbourne.
I was a little surprised Brian Goodwin didn't take a timeout on that last one, maybe even thinking about advancing the ball. He's still got 2 left.
So Melbourne restart, down 3, 20 seconds to play. Golding gets some hot treatment. Luala Chul to tie, can't connect. Jessup will be fouled. And free throws to come now for Justinian Jessup. He's 1 of 1 so far in the game and 86% on the season.
Yeah, well, if you're a Hawks fan, you're happy that he was in there for the boards because that's who has to be shooting these free throws. And it'll be tough for Melbourne United from here. And the Illawarra Hawks just continue to roll on.
They've won their last 4, 9 of their last 11. And beating Melbourne twice at their venue in quick succession. Well, that bodes well for the playoffs.
And without Harvey in one game, without Gorgian in another, and Melbourne United playing with a full lineup as well. And a lot of questions that they'd be asking internally right now about what they have to do the next part of the season. One, to make the playoffs, but then to be able to win playoffs and try and go back-to-back.
Illy off the mark. And the Hawks are going to come up with a famous victory here. Rattan Mays is fouled from behind by Golding, and more free throws to come. And Rattan Mays is enjoying it. Just a little bit of advice for the Melbourne United fans in the front row as well. They're celebrating on the Hawks bench.
Well, Melbourne are the only team this season that has not lost to an opponent more than once. So this will be the first team to do it, the Illawarra Hawks. So Ryan Gorgian, he'd be delighted, not just with this win. Obviously, this is the immediate one, but 9 of 11, they were right under the pump. And I think a lot of people have said they can't do it, given the run home that they had, the quality of team they've got. They've still got a lot of heavy lifting to do, but right now, this win, I think...
Well, 3 weeks ago, they were out of the top 4. And now they are storming toward the pinnacle because they have beaten Melbourne United on their own floor for the second time in a week. The Hawks come up big, down 6 with 5 minutes to play. They win by 6, 96-90.
And they'll take a whole lot of confidence from this. Don't worry about that. Beating the top team on the road again. They did it by committee. The best players stood up at the right time. And Brian Gorgian has got them playing their best basketball at the right time of the year.
And Hammer, the footlocker player of the game is Xavier Rathan Mays. And as he should, this to me has been his best game in a Illawarra jersey. The numbers speak for themselves, but it's the context of what this game meant. To have him to step up like he did is huge.
They've gone to second on the ladder. They've outscored Melbourne 25-15 in the final to get the result here. Hawks 96, Melbourne 90. We're back to wrap it up here on Saturday Night Hoops right after this. Welcome back. Saturday night hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Heavyweight contest between Melbourne and Illawarra, and what a contest it was. No more than 8 points separated the teams at any stage during the game. Both had their moments, but it was the Hawks who finished the strongest. They've won 5 in a row now, 96-90. Well played.
Well, they did, and they never shot well from the three-point line, 6 of 23, but what they did do is make free throws, 22 of 24, and they did a great job on the boards. They out-rebounded Melbourne United 41-27, and when it came down to the critical moments in that last quarter, they stood up big time. In particular, Rathan Mays was outstanding with his 25 points, and it's not just his points, he really showed great poise, and Antonius Cleveland